Hi there, Steve Kaufman here. And today I want to talk about learning more than one language at the same time and the related question of how do you maintain the various languages that you have learned, me or someone else. If you enjoy these videos, please subscribe. So, by way of explanation, I'm going to talk to you a bit about what is happening to me right now. As you know, or you may not know, but I was studying Greek for 3 months. But now I'm on my way to Bratislava, where there will be a Polyglot conference. So Bratislava is in Slovakia. After that, I'm going to be in Ukraine, where obviously they speak Ukrainian and Russian. Then I'm going to be in Vienna and so forth and so on. So I have put my Greek aside. I'm not doing any Greek right now. And I'm making 3 presentations in Bratislava. 2 of them are to an international group where I will speak English, and one of them is to a group of Slovaks where they had arranged for a translator or an interpreter to interpret into Slovak. So I said, well, I will try to give my talk in Slovak or Slovakian. So for the last couple of days, I've been working hard at, perhaps even more now, time goes by so quickly, trying to get a handle on the Slovak language. And in fact, I just finished a conversation with Lydia, who is the organizer of the Polyglot Conference, and we spoke in Slovak. And she's putting this up on her Facebook page, and I will later on give you a link to that video. But, so not only now have I put Greek aside, and I'm working on both the Czech and the Slovak, because I have a lot of material for Czech already in link. I spent a lot of time on Czech some years ago. So I'm reviewing that, but then I'm also using this hovorník, this phrase dictionary, trying to get a handle on the differences between Czech and Slovak. But in the back of my mind is that I have to get on to Arabic. And so the spirit moved me, so I decided to, go on the internet and get some information about the Arabic writing system, which is the first obstacle that I have to overcome. And I also downloaded some apps onto my iPhone and iPad where I can review the Arabic script. And I spent a bit of time on it now, both looking at these sheets and also going through the sort of flashcard gamified way of learning the Arabic script, and which focuses largely on the sort of main, or the standard form of these letters, even though they have they indicate to you how these change when they're at the beginning, the middle, or the end of a word. I must admit, when I can kind of now take a good guess at what the sounds are for the main Arabic letters, but when I see them written as a word, I'm totally lost. But now I'm putting that aside, although I'm taking it with me to look at in the plane when I get tired of Slovak or Czech. Now, my fundamental position is that when I'm focusing on a language like Slovak, Czech, more or less, very similar, then I have to focus on that language, so I can't do Greek. But anything that I do, like as a minor, as a break from the Slovak, say, like looking at these Arabic letters, it's an investment in the future. The next time I go to pick it up, the Arabic letters, it won't be totally new to me. There will be parts of my brain that have some sense of the Arabic script. If after I return from Ukraine, I decide to go back and focus on Greek, I'm not going back to nothing. I'm going back to what I have already invested a fair amount of time in. And my experience tells me that very quickly I will be better than I was before. And this gets back to this theme that I've mentioned before, this interleaving, that rather than trying to learn something, only do this, try and push it into your brain. In fact, the way the brain learns is actually that it is more effective to learn something, put a lot of effort into something, then leave it aside, and then go back to it. Now this has various applications. This is, for example, one reason why we shouldn't try and block learn lists of words. It's why we should vary the content that we're learning from, even within a particular language. But it also relates to this experience that I've had when, if I leave a certain language and go off and do another language for 3 months, I come to the first language, very quickly I understand better than I ever did before. You know, to me, cracking the code of the Arabic script, I must admit it's a little bit daunting. It's, you know, I read Chinese, I read Japanese, but to me, I find it difficult because when the words are all sort of written together, it's very difficult for me to see where one letter begins and or ends and the next letter begins. However, by chipping away at it gradually, by having a look at it now and maybe a little bit of a look on the airplane, a little bit look, I'm not sort of focused on learning it. I'm just putting in some time. And I know that that investment is going to eventually, when I go to focus on it, is going to enable me to learn it more quickly. So I guess to summarize here, I can only focus on one language at a time because I need a fair amount of intensity. Within that focus, of course, I try to vary my activities. Listen to difficult stories, easier stories, occasionally review the words and phrases, mostly just listen and read, and focus on that language 80-90% of the time. But it's also useful occasionally to take a break. And the time that I then spend on Arabic letters or whatever it might be, it's all, none of that is going to disappear. It's not like as if you're pouring water on sand. You are starting to create some neural connections related to, let's say, the Arabic script, so that when I go and put more effort into it, it's going to be that much easier for me. So, yeah, I don't know if that explains, you know, and I should say other people may have different learning approaches, but certainly that is my approach. Focus on one, dabble in another, but whatever I do in the other, dabble is worth it, because eventually I can go back to that. That's money in the bank as far as my future learning, say, of Arabic is concerned. So there you have it. I hope that is useful, probably a little bit confusing and contradictory, but that's kind of the situation that I'm in right now. So thank you. Bye for now.